everyone, and welcome to Navigating Senior Life. I'm your host, Christina Manzor, and this is season 2, A Day in the Life. And today I have a special guest with me, Maura Ryan, and I'm going to have her introduce herself and tell us a little bit about, or a lot, of what she does in the senior community. Hi, Maura. Thank you for being here.
How you doing? Thank you so much for letting me come on your podcast today. My name is Maura Ryan, and I'm the owner of All Care Senior Advisors. So I help families when they're looking into assisted living, independent living, memory care, or even home care, and resources if they need help with their loved one. My services are always no charge, and I'm their personal guide, so I'm with you every step of the way.
And could you tell us what geared you to get into this field?
Sure. So honestly, going back to my grandmother had dementia, and I watched my mom and grandmother struggle for years. Unfortunately, 20 years ago, there wasn't resources the way there is now. And I made a promise that if I ever was able or lucky enough to get into the senior field, that I would always be a resource, and I would always treat my clients the way that I would want my mother and grandmother to be treated, and really try to provide them with any and all resources that they could possibly need to make whatever they're going through easier.
And it's an incredible service that you can provide.
Thank you.
To them.
Yeah, I love working with my family, so it's very exciting for me when I talk to them.
Can you walk us through a typical day?
There are no typical days. They're different every single day. But, you know, I will speak with the family. They'll be referred to me, and then we do kind of like a deep dive or a discovery, so I can learn about the person who needs services. And everything matters, you know, their personality, what they did as work, what they did for hobbies, because when you're talking about a community or even home care, every community is Sunrise to Bristol to Atria. They're all very, very different. And, you know, some are very, very hopping and energetic, and some are a little bit more mellow. So all of those things come into play. Budget, of course, location, and the care, of course, right? That's the biggest thing, is the care. Yeah, what they can afford, what they can't afford. So all of that is part of our discussion. The more information I have, the better it is for me to be able to give the family suggestions. And then I narrow it down for them. So I do all the legwork, so they're not running around to a community that maybe doesn't have the right license for the care needs that the person has.
Right. And they don't feel rushed
to
jump into anything.
It's their pace. You know, sometimes we do have, you know, limited time because if someone's in a rehab, but, you know, we can move as quick or as slow as needed. And then most of my clients, you know, when we're done with our discovery and I present them with some options, usually within the first or second building, you know, community is where they're making their decision, because I've done my job. If I've done my job right, that's how it should play out. And then I'm on the tours with them. I'm, you know, with them every step of the way.
Right. And that's amazing. And that's very personal and fantastic.
Yeah.
It's almost like a love it or list it.
Right.
Door to door. And at the end, you know, everybody's happy, and, you know, they also deserve that attention, that TLC, that little bit of extra where different companies might not be so close to it.
Right. And I think that's really important. You know, you're going through a very emotional situation. Maybe the person has had a sudden decline, you know, where someone was very independent beforehand, and now all of a sudden you're being told that that person can't go home by themselves anymore. And that's a big shock for families. Most are not prepared for it. You know, so to have that person that's a trusted advisor, you know, helping you and guiding you along the way, because most people don't know what to do, and they don't know who to talk to, and they don't know first steps.
And they get overwhelmed because if they're not knowledgeable of something, it's even like a simple little podcast could be very overwhelming to somebody if they didn't know how to walk through the steps. And that's a beautiful thing. And also the fact that you're in, or a real estate agent too. So it's like,
that's a new thing for me.
Yes. It's like,
it's added.
Yeah.
Because again, you know,
you are the full package.
Yeah. I try to be an easy button. So, you know, my clients, it's a very emotional thing. I'm working with someone right now. She's lived in her home for 72 years. So for us, you know, we're transitioning her into assisted living, and we're going to be selling the home. It has to be at her pace. It has to be very slow. It's, you know, that house is all of her memories. She has only lived in that house. She was, a young bride in that house. She had a family in that house. So it's a very emotional time for her to pack up and move into,
as well as the fear of the unknown.
Correct. To move, living in a home and then moving to assisted living is a very big transition. So we have to go very slow with her. And that is why I got my real estate license, because I saw that, bringing in possibly someone else, they aren't understanding of the situation. They aren't understanding that you need to essentially hold this person's hand and let this play out, at their pace. So that's why I got my license. So I usually just am working with my clients, but it's been very successful so far. So, and I enjoy it.
It's amazing.
Thank you.
If somebody was entering into this field, what advice would you give them?
Oh boy. I think that, it isn't as easy as I think people assume it is. There's a lot that's involved. Especially, you're essentially moving someone into a community and you're guiding them, right? So you have to really know these communities. You have to know their staffing. You have to know, the getting feedback from families is huge. Even if it's something as far as if someone's in, say, a rehab, helping them with getting services in place. There's a lot that's involved. At least that's how I am. That's how I run my business. I'm very involved. I want families to make the right decisions, so I help guide them as much as I can. But I think that it's you really need to do your research before you start in this business and really understand the communities. It's a big thing, because if you move someone, you don't want to have to move them again. I thankfully have not had any situations like that in my 3.5 years. My families have stayed where they are, except for if they needed, a higher level of care or something like that. Things happen. But we've been very successful with our placements, so I'm very proud of that. But yeah, it's there's a lot more to it than just moving someone into an assisted living.
Yes, it definitely is. And before I wrap up, if you could describe a day in your life in one word.
One word. Busy. Busy. Satisfying, because I get to work with amazing families and I'm helping them where they need it the most.
Right. And with everything going on in this world, it's just so amazing that the people I've been coming across that still truly care.
Correct.
And I'd like to thank you so much, Maura.
Thank you.
For sharing your experience with the world and giving us a little more piece of the puzzle for the seniors out there. And if you'd like to collaborate or would like more information, you can always reach out to me on the show. Until next time, this is Christina Manzor with Navigating Senior Life. Have a great day.
Bye.